Picture this. Scientific truths cast aside, clean energy progress halted, and a relentless push to unleash fossil fuels. Donald Trump's presidency wasn't just a policy shift, it was a seismic jolt to the fight against climate change.
A brand new report on climate change released by the Trump administration on a busy Black Friday.
President Trump believes climate change is a hoax.
With the clock racing toward irreversible damage, one question looms. Can we undo the consequences before it's too late?
Dire warning to the U.S. government. Climate change could cost the U.S. economy hundreds of billions of dollars in the future.
Time as the deadliest wildfires in California state history still smolder. Government scientists saying climate-related threats to America's physical, social, and economic well-being are rising.
So Obama's talking about all of this with the global warming and that. A lot of it's a hoax. It's a hoax. I mean, it's a money-making industry, okay? It's a hoax.
On Monday, that world crept closer to reality. In a bold and controversial move, Donald Trump issued a series of executive orders that unravel key climate policies from the Biden administration, signaling a dramatic pivot in how America addresses climate change. At the heart of this shakeup is the disbanding of the Interagency Working Group on the social cost of greenhouse gases, a tool designed to measure the true price of emissions. By sidelining these calculations, Trump claims to streamline energy projects. But critics warn this is a dangerous gamble with the planet's future. Adding fuel to the fire, Trump also revoked Biden's memorandum on scientific integrity, a safeguard meant to ensure federal agencies remain grounded in fact, not fiction. With this decision, the specter of political interference in science looms large once again, echoing concerns from Trump's previous tenure. What does this mean for the future of climate policy? How will this shift impact not only the environment, but also the trust Americans place in their government? As these changes ripple to federal agencies, one thing is clear. The debate over climate action in the United States has entered a new, turbulent chapter. Brace yourself as we unpack the far-reaching implications of these controversial moves and explore what this could mean for a planet already teetering on the edge. The world watched closely when Trump's presidency made headlines by pulling out of the Paris Agreement, shaking the foundations of global climate cooperation. That bold move not only sparked debates about America's role in combating climate change, but also left the global community scrambling to fill the vacuum created by the withdrawal. Now, Trump has taken another unprecedented step that's igniting curiosity and concern alike, the declaration of an energy emergency.
That is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill.
This sweeping directive prioritizes fossil fuels and nuclear energy, signaling a seismic shift in America's energy strategy. Agencies have been ordered to fast-track projects involving oil, gas, coal, and nuclear power, effectively halting the progress of renewable energy initiatives. Offshore wind leasing is frozen and approvals for new wind energy projects are paused indefinitely. For some, this marks a decisive stand for energy independence and economic growth, but for others, it raises questions about the future of sustainability and innovation in the energy sector. What does this mean for America's energy future? On one hand, the focus on fossil fuels could bring immediate job creation and lower energy costs, promising a short-term economic boost. On the other, it risks isolating the U.S. from global renewable energy markets and undermining decades of progress toward cleaner alternatives. With global temperatures continuing to rise and the international community doubling down on climate commitments, Trump's latest move sets up a high-stakes gamble. Can the U.S. maintain leadership in the energy sector while turning its back on renewables? Or will this pivot leave it lagging behind in the race for innovation and sustainability? The aggressive push for fossil fuel expansion isn't just a policy decision, it's a gamble with the future of our planet. Beyond the devastating effects on the climate, this reckless trajectory threatens local ecosystems and imperils countless species. Critics argue that the real beneficiaries are the corporations raking in billions, while communities bear the brunt of environmental degradation. Is this truly about energy independence, or is it just a smokescreen for profit-driven exploitation? Under the guise of national interest, Trump's sweeping rollbacks of climate policies have dismantled progress decades in the making. With a stroke of his pen, initiatives like the National Climate Task Force and the State Department's Climate Change Support Office were scrapped. Even funds earmarked for clean energy innovations, critical steps toward a sustainable future, were abruptly frozen. Could this be a deliberate move to stall America's green revolution? Or are we witnessing an administration willing to mortgage the future for short-term gains? Meanwhile, the scientific community has sounded the alarm. Unchecked reliance on fossil fuels will turbocharge global warming, sparking more catastrophic wildfires, hurricanes, and rising sea levels. Yet, these warnings seem to fall on deaf ears. Are we heading toward an irreversible tipping point? Or will history remember this as the era when policymakers chose profits over the planet? The clock is ticking, and the stakes could be higher. The climate crisis stands at a crossroads, a pivotal moment where the weight of past decisions and the urgency of future action collide. Trump's presidency, with its sweeping rollbacks of environmental policies and staunch denial of climate science, has amplified the stakes, casting the U.S. further adrift from global climate goals. The repercussions are already visible: record-breaking wildfires, devastating hurricanes, and rising sea levels that threaten to reshape coastlines. Yet, amidst the smog of inaction, a powerful movement is emerging, fueled by the passion and resilience of a new generation. Young activists like Greta Thunberg have inspired millions to take to the streets, turning frustration into action. Students strike from schools, demanding answers. Grassroots coalitions rise, challenging fossil fuel giants and advocating for renewable energy transitions. The tension is palpable, the divide sharp. On one side are those clinging to the myth of energy independence built on fossil fuels, and on the other, a groundswell of voices refusing to accept a future of environmental collapse. The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change's stark warning hangs heavy. Just over a decade remains to avoid irreversible catastrophe. Will the U.S. continue down a path of negligence, or will it pivot toward bold, transformative action? One of the most shocking statistics to come out of Trump's presidency is the rate at which the U.S. has fallen behind on its climate goals. According to the Climate Action Tracker, the U.S. is currently on track to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by only 3 to 5% by 2030, far short of the 45 to 50% reduction needed to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. This is a staggering failure, and one that will have far-reaching consequences for the planet. Furthermore, despite Trump's claims that he was a champion of the environment, his administration's policies led to a significant increase in greenhouse gas emissions during his presidency. According to the EPA, U.S. emissions rose by 3.4% in 2020, making it one of the largest annual increases in decades. This is a damning indictment of Trump's climate record and a stark reminder of the consequences of his policies. The reality is that Trump's climate policies have made the U.S. more vulnerable to the impacts of climate change, from sea level rise and more intense natural disasters to air and water pollution. It's a legacy that will haunt us for generations to come, and one that demands immediate action to reverse. In conclusion, Trump's climate change legacy is a shocking testament to the dangers of climate denial and the importance of taking immediate action to address this crisis. His policies have had a devastating impact on the planet, and it's up to us to demand better from our leaders. Let's make sure to hold them accountable for their actions and work towards creating a sustainable future for all. Meanwhile, show some love by hitting the like button and subscribing for more compelling content. Your support keeps us going.